Hey, everybody. I'm Jan Erickson from Stepping Aside. Welcome to Somewhat Daily Tarot and Rune for Monday, the 11th day of January 2021. 11 energy for today, master number. It didn't help the first time I did this. I was just getting ready to close and it froze on me, so this always happens. I don't know. Anyway, esoteric influences are up both in video form and in post form on the blog. There's also a different one over on Patreon if you're a Patreon subscriber. If you want to subscribe over there, there's a link below the video here, and it's $1 a month is all it is. You don't have to sign up for continual months. You sign up one, or you can do a whole year, however you want to do it, I guess. But it's just $1 to do it. And so, if you want to 1 month and not another, that's fine. But when you do, it unlocks everything up to that point and whatever you want to look at during the month. So anyway, that's over there. And if you want to sign up for the newsletter and get the esoteric influences and the bind rune for the week, here's the bind rune. It's up on the blog. But you'll get this in your inbox on Sundays before anybody else gets it. So if you just want to sign up for the newsletter, it doesn't cost anything. It's just something I do. And let's see, what else? Oh, I did the Shifting Perceptions video. It's up it's as a post. It's not on the side panel where I put the other videos. It's there in the post part of the blog. It's up. I also posted it over on Patreon. Also, I've tweeted it about and shared it about. But no, actually I didn't do that yet. So you'll have to go over to the blog to see that, or see it on the YouTube channel. It's there. So if you're interested in that, it's kind of it reflects the latest book I wrote, and it's basically talking about how we shift our perception to a higher vibration, basically. And so it has some visualizations and meditations and an affirmation and a little section on conscious breathing and that kind of stuff. So if you're interested, it's up finally. I finally did it. Anyway, I'm going to leave the cards and the runes as what they were, because I think that I think they're really prescient for what's going on right now. So let's just go ahead and get started with that. Thurazaz is the rune for today. And we're talking Thor's rune here. We're talking the thorn. We're talking, it kind of looks like one, doesn't it? Like a rose thorn. Now, some of my roses, I have tea roses, and they don't have big thorns on them. They have little tiny ones, But my bigger roses have thorns that look just like this. When we were kids, we used to take them off, lick the one side, and stick them on our noses. Well, anyway, kids. So we were like unicorns. Anyway. Things we used to do for fun before there was the internet and video games and things. But anyway, that's Thurazaz. It's Kenaz and Isa together. But Kenaz with the light turned inward. But basically you're breaking through obstacles with Thurazaz. Whenever I draw this, like, okay, it alerts me that something's either about to come out, some truth is about to be revealed, or I'm going to be able to work through some kind of, obstacle or challenge that I have. Amicio is the geomancy rune for today. That's loss. Now, it can be emotional loss, but usually Tristitia is more that. But this could simply be the loss of anything. So the ending of something. So say you're in an argument with a friend and it's over. Well, that can be Amicio. But it can also be loss. It can also be feelings of loss. But it could be the ending of something of illusion. Okay? Especially with Thurazaz, breaking through illusion. So the deception you're dealing with is over. The truth is coming out. And so the loss of the hold that the con or the lie had over you. It's interesting because you're seeing people being arrested that were at that insurrection event at the Capitol on Wednesday. You're seeing people now online being arrested at airports, or they're being arrested at their homes. Some are discovering they're on no-fly lists, so they can't get home. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if that's happening or if they're... I would guess it is. If you get there and you're on a no-fly list for that airliner, well, you better go find one that doesn't have you on it. I guess the Flight Attendants Association decided that. They said, we've got to do something, guys. We've got to do something right now. Because they didn't like what they saw on the flights there going to DC, I guess. And they were so alarmed that, and after what happened on Wednesday, they're like, oh, no, 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 you don't come back on my plane. So, and I don't blame them. I don't. So basically, you know, we've had a lot of challenges here of late. You know, if you're talking on a personal level, probably most of it is virus related, job security related, having to do with the virus and all of that. But for the cards now, I drew the Three of Swords, or betrayal. That was the first card I drew when I did this the first time. We see the rain behind the heart. We see three raining. The rain is coming down from not dark clouds. And here's the thing: even though clouds denote deception, because they're not so dark, and because we're seeing what's happening behind us, you see, we see the center sword, and it's actually in front of the other two, right? So it's like a drama triangle, okay? You've got the two swords behind, doing things behind the scenes against this person in the center. Now, it can mean someone stepping out on the other person in a relationship. It could be people are gossiping and lying about you and slandering you, say at work or in a family or among friends or whatever. But there's a drama triangle going on where one person doesn't know what the other two are doing. So you can extrapolate that out into a more general sense of there are things happening behind the scenes that we don't know about that are betraying. That are a betrayal to all of us. And when you plan an insurrection, I don't know. Then I drew the 10 of Pentacles. And I love this card. To me, it represents Othala, the 24th rune of the Elder Futhark, of legacy and possessions, but ancestral heritage and transition, where you're sharing your legacy with your children. And that's what this reminds me of. Now, you'll notice that the pattern that the 10 pentacles are in reflects the tree of life from Kabbalah, the Kabbalistic tree of life, where the top 3 are before we get into form. And if there was a line right here, that would be the line of the abyss. Everything else is all of the spiritual attributes that we bring with us when we come down into form, when we focus into form. Mercy, beauty, all of that, right? So what you see here is the older man, the grandfather or the father, and his dogs. You see the grandchild, you see the kids. But you see an archway, and you see through that, you see a town, or maybe that's their home. But you see a tower here, which we're going to talk about with the last card. But there's a sense of he's got his life, you know, is about to transition into something else. You can see that he's old. He's got white hair. So maybe, you know, his life is coming to an end, and he's ready to give his, you know, inheritance, give his security that he's built, his abundance, to his family and share it with them. So you have the sense with the archway there of transitions, don't you? It talks about a life well lived and what you have to offer to the next generation. The 10 is new beginnings, but it's also endings. It's the Degas moment of one period ending and another beginning. So at this point, we have a 4 energy, 3 and 1, 10 reduces to 1. So there's a 4 energy there. So we're talking about our foundation right now with these 2 cards. So the betrayal is affecting our foundation, our material security, our legacy, what we can in other words, what we leave for our children. We're always talking about that in terms of the country, of what kind of legacy. Are we going to leave a world for our children that is crap, or are we going to build something that they can then build on themselves? Well, right now, I guess they've looked at the EPA and oh Lord, everything's been taken away. All the protections, all the measures that keep us healthy and safe and our air clean and our water clean, and it's all been trashed. And so there's just going to have to fix all that before they can really do anything else, I guess. I don't know. My husband read that yesterday. This is the 16th card of the Major Arcana, the Tower. This was the last card I drew, but I think that I need to have it in the center of the reading so that we begin with the 3 and we understand that we've been betrayed. And the truth of that is coming out because the clouds aren't quite as dark as they might be. Yeah, there's rain, sort of depicting the emotion behind it. Even though this is an air element card, there's always going to be elements, the other elements will be contained within the same card. You'll, or at least some of them will, maybe all of them. But here we have betrayal. And again, something's happening behind the scenes that we don't know about. We felt it growing, though, over the last few months, maybe the last few years. So for many of us, what happened on Wednesday is no surprise. It should be, but it's not. But here, the clouds aren't as dark, and so truth is starting to be known. We know we've been betrayed with this card. We know it. We know something has happened behind the scenes. If it's personal, it could be in the family, with friendships, with neighbors, with work. But something's happened to betray us. Something's happened that's going to affect ultimately our legacy, right? But then the Tower comes in, and the lightning hits the top, sets everything on fire, cleanses, brings to light everything. You see the fire coming out of the windows. You see the 2 occupants falling, the king and queen falling out of the tower, trying to live through the whole experience. But it's a 7 energy, so it's like the scales. It's letting things come to, it's like a reset. You move them around and then you hold it and then it comes to a balance, right? So that you can then see what's really going on. And that's why I think that with the betrayal, we realize we've been betrayed. And now everything's got to have a reset. We got to figure things out. If it's a relationship that's at issue, then maybe you got to rethink the relationship and either fix it, have an honest discussion about what happened so that you can all move on together, or you walk away, right? There's really 2 options. If it's at work, it may be such that you were slandered to the boss and nobody knows what to think, and the only thing you can do is leave the work and go find another job. Because usually in situations like that, it's never the ones that cause the trouble that really get in trouble or lose their job over it. It's usually the victim, right? Well, we need a reset, and the victim has got to stop being the one that has to leave. It's got to be the ones that cause the trouble. That's why you're seeing so many people calling from their own districts for the removal of their congresspeople. I got one who just got to be my congressman, took Walden's place. He's another Republican. And he signed on to this nonsense. He signed on Wednesday. He did not vote to seat Biden and Harris. So he's got to go. It's a betrayal. It's a seditious act. And he's brand new. Hours old, right? Just had gotten there. Got sworn in, and then did this stupid thing. So if we can't get him, so if they can't expel him, if they decide not to do that, then in 2 years we have to do it ourselves. I mean, don't we do this every 2 years with the Congress? They're always up for re-election. We need to get a different guy. We can't have somebody who's going to betray the voters and the constituents. Of course, he's probably got a lot of them that are probably for it. But again, it's a betrayal. It's a betrayal of the process. It's a betrayal of what we all expect constitutionally. It's a betrayal of the Constitution. Now, no matter what you might think about what's going on, the Constitution is what guides us. You can't just decide, I'm just going to upend it one day because you don't like the outcome. That's what they did. And we're going to find out as with Thurazaz here just what they did. See, I can't do that in my left hand, can I? But the tower's blown apart, and a reset is happening, and we're burning away the delusion and the deception and the weird expectations that these people have that they're going to get away with it all. What help did they have? What foreign countries helped them? You've got foreign countries saying, oh my God, what happened to you people? Well, did they have help? Because it feels, when you see people acting like there's no law that will stop them, and then they all demand, oh, well, no, you just have to forgive and forget. We shouldn't, be arrested. We shouldn't, be charged. We shouldn't be tried. We shouldn't be indicted. We should just be able to get away with it. We had a police officer die. And now we've had two. One took his life. And now we see a video that's out of them taking the American flag and beating a cop senseless. They pulled him down out of the building, down the stairs, and they're beating him with the staff of an American flag while they sing Star Spangled Banner. What's going on? Look, the betrayal affects our legacy. The betrayal, which we're going to find out is far more than what happened on Wednesday. Okay, the betrayal is way bigger than that. And the loss that we feel, or the loss they're going to feel, because I don't think it's going to go the way they think it will. I read just before I came on here that what is it, that the New York bar is moving to possibly remove Giuliani's bar license. You got the Kraken lady who slandered Dominion so bad, because I'll guarantee you it's the other ones, there's other voting machines out there. They decided to focus on one only. So you have to ask yourself, why? Is it look over there so you don't see what I'm doing over here? Because it's always felt weird to me, but now they focused on this one company and they're suing her for $1.3 billion for the things that she said about them. You've got a social media company that's now been taken down because of what was being said on it and the planning that was happening on it. You've got the yo-yo still in the Oval Office. He doesn't have his Twitter account anymore. He's off Facebook, off Instagram, off Pinterest, off all of it. And now that the last one's been taken down, he doesn't have that either. And you have, who is it, Marco Rubio saying, oh, Republicans can't talk to one another now. You have email, you have phones, you can have a conversation in person. What do you mean you can't talk to one another anymore? If you behave, you can talk to one another on Twitter. I think that a reset, and I think that that's what the tower is suggesting, a reset is needed so that the betrayal ends. That's why we had an election. That's why 81 million more people voted for the other guy and not for the yo-yo in the office now. So, but I guess the 81 plus million people are just supposed to be ignored because that doesn't suit the clown in the Oval Office who betrayed everyone, including the people who support him, and they don't even realize it yet. Some of them are starting to. But not enough. So they're planning more? We were betrayed. Every one of us has been betrayed in our lives on a personal level. We know what that feels like. But what's happened here is going to affect this country for years to come. and in turn the rest of us. So let's hope that we can move forward here in some truth and honesty and accountability, because this cannot be swept under the rug, as so many things are, as what they want. They want this to be swept under the rug. They don't want to have any consequences. Oh no, don't impeach because, oh, that will affect the country. Do you honestly think that impeaching somebody who betrayed the country, if that affects unity, well then, oh boy, we got a real problem. Again, it's like somebody breaks into your house, steals everything, trashes the rest, harms your family. But you're not going to call the police because, oh, unity? Oh, healing? Oh, well, you know, he might get upset if we call the police. How many people live in fear every single day? Children that are abused every single day. They grow up to be adults that then, when faced with further abuse, further betrayal, it's like, oh, I mean, is that the dynamic that's going on? We don't want to deal with it because, oh my God, it might be worse for us in the end. You know, the thing about Kelly Loeffler now that's come out, that as he's going to the last rally for her in Purdue in Georgia, and he tells her, you back me or I'm gonna, you know, do you dirty on stage when I get there. So she backed him. How dare he threaten her that way? I don't like the woman. I certainly would never have voted for her, but, you know, it doesn't mean I want her to be threatened. She needs to make up her own mind. We need to see her for who she is, not who she is because she's trying to keep herself safe from this guy. How many of us have been in that situation in our lives? Either growing up or we get into a bad relationship where this happens and we have to be afraid. And now you've got this group of people that came and committed an insurrection on our country, on our government, on Wednesday of last week, and now they want us to all look the other way and pretend it didn't happen so they can come back and do it again. Because that's what they're planning. They're planning to do it again. Now, maybe what happens over the next few days, the next week, maybe it will prevent them from doing it again. And I hope that they're able to do that. I hope if the more arrests that happen, maybe people will get the message and they won't, but there's a whole bunch of them that don't seem to hear anything. So we don't know. We have to be ready. But how we blow the lid off is we bring light to it all. We call them out. We make them accountable. We make them responsible for their behavior. And then and only then can we preserve our legacy. The one we have now, collectively, and our personal legacies as well, because everything is being affected by this virus that this administration could not, would not, will not ever help us with. Instead, they throw rocks in the way and barriers to people, the healthcare providers having PPE, small business having the PPP loans that they could have maybe, you know, because sometimes you're going to have, in a case like this, until we get a handle on it, you might have to pay that business to stay closed and pay so they can then pay their staff so they don't lose them. And if they can operate in a modified way, you help them do that until the virus is gotten a hold of and gotten contained. But instead, we had a president who didn't support mask wearing and held super spreader events to make everybody sick. I mean, think about that. Think about what he did just this last year alone. With respect to the virus, we have more than 300,000 people that have died. One day there was, over 4,100 in one day. There's just last week. It's unacceptable. But to him, it's just fine. Business as usual. So what if they die? So what? It's the betrayal. We got to blow the lid off of it. We got to let the light of day come in. People have to be accountable for whatever they did to make this happen, including what happened Wednesday. Only then can we face our challenges together. We have to do it in full clarity. We have to know who did what. And the Congress people that were sworn in, if they've gone and they've done this, if they've been part of this, they need to go. They need to resign. There's calls for it all over the country right now. They need to go. Let us rebuild. Let us find out the truth so that we can rebuild. And again, if this is something personal, you have to do the same thing. You have to understand what the betrayal was. You have to see it for what it is. You have to see it in full clarity, and then you have to make a decision about it. Because whether it's about your own emotional state or if it's a job or something and you're trying to put food on the table, you can't work in a situation like that where you're being betrayed all the time, you're being slandered. Because they're trying to get you fired, is what they're trying to do. Instead of the ones that are doing it that need to be fired. Right? No, they become sacred cows within the business because maybe the boss is even afraid of them. I actually worked in a place like that. We had a lady that literally was abusive to everyone. She was not supervisable. She wouldn't cooperate with anybody, and the bosses were too afraid of her to do anything. It was the strangest thing. I pushed the envelope a little bit and broke through a little bit with her, but it wasn't easy. Nobody said a word to me either about it. They didn't try to stop me or anything because they couldn't. They couldn't even stop her. So I've been through it. It's not fun. And you have to make it. I finally quit my job because I'd had enough. I'd had enough of the chaos and the manipulation and all the nonsense. I just had enough. I had enough of the lack of backbone with my boss. And so I quit. So I don't know. We have to make the decisions we have to make. We have to exercise the thorazaz in order to break through whatever it is we're dealing with whatever loss we're feeling, or to push away this, or to end the situation, basically, that's causing it. It's what's happening right now today in Washington, D.C., as they try to figure out what in the heck happened and why the Capitol Police, that there weren't enough of them there, why they didn't want any help. Who got to, I mean, the heads are gone. The chief is gone. And some of the others, the upper level management's gone. They've been fired. Why did they leave their officers with no one? Why did they leave the ones that were there with no help? What did they do? Something isn't right, though. For there to be not enough people there, why wasn't the National Guard there? It was because the guy in the Oval Office wouldn't call them. Said no. Had his minions at DOD say no. They left that place unprotected. That's the betrayal. And the cops that were there, one of them literally had him following him up the stairs, and he knew where the door to the Senate was, the Senate chamber. He literally taunted them at the top of those stairs, and then taunted them enough that they followed him somewhere else. That guy's a hero. They're saying that Biden ought to give him the Presidential Medal of Freedom for that, for doing what he did. He led the mob away from that door. He let them chase him so that they wouldn't go in that door. Eventually they went in. But he kept them at bay doing what he did. That man showed more courage in that one choice that he made than any of those people in that mob showed by being there. Can you imagine that? No backup. They're all wondering, where in the heck is our backup? It's not there. It was never coming. No, I think we're going to find out a lot this week, and I think we're going to be horrified by it. So stay present, stay watchful, stay awake, stay aware, and understand what happened. Okay? I'm going to keep track of this for Thursday to see what has happened along the week, and to see if that reading maybe builds on this one. So come back on Thursday for this, and for this again, and think about this stuff. Think about how betrayal has happened in your life, if it's something other than what we're all collectively experiencing. Figure out a way to bring a reset to it, to blow the lid off of it, so that the deception is over, so that you can then get on with preserving your own legacy in life. So anyway, thanks for watching. Again, click subscribe. I'd love you to do that, and check out my blog, Stepping Aside, over at imsteppingaside.com. Lots of things underneath the video to look at as far as links of where I am. So if you want to check that out, follow me over on Twitter, or the Stepping Aside's Facebook page, or wherever, Pinterest, wherever you, or Instagram. It's all, the links are all there. Patreon link is there. Medium, I think, I also have that one there. And we'll talk again on Thursday. Wear a mask if you go out around anyone at all, whether you're inside or out. You breathe, you got it, you shed it, all right? Just understand, you're not safe if you're outside without a mask on. If you're around other people, you've got to have a mask on. So anyway, we'll see you Thursday. Be good to yourself, be good to one another, and blessed be.